Hello everyone. Let us go with the parts of the flowers. So as we all know that the flower is the characteristic feature of the angiosperms and it is the main reproductive part of a plant. So this flower is majorly containing the two main parts. One will be classified into the essential parts, other one is the non-essential parts. So both parts are present in the flower. Essential parts helps in reproduction as they are playing a role. As these parts are participating reproduction process, we call them as the essential parts of the flower. So the structures like androecium and gynoecium, they participate in reproduction. And the non-essential, they do not play any role in the reproduction. They doesn't participate in the reproduction. Example, calyx and corolla. So here androecium and gynoecium, here calyx and corolla. As they don't have any role, they doesn't participate in the reproduction, but still they present in the flower, will be having the different functions. So now we'll be discussing what is this calyx, corolla, and androecium, gynoecium. So first coming to this essential parts, it is divided into male as well as a female. The male part is the androecium, we represent with the symbol like this, and the female part is the gynoecium, we represent like this. So we will confuse between the terms like sepals, petals, stamens, pistil, carpel, different terms are there. So coming to this androecium, as it is the male reproductive part of the flower, it is containing the stamens. So all the stamens together forming a structure called as androecium. So this stamen is actually containing the two parts. One, a slender stack type of structure is present, we call it as a filament, and at the end filament is attached to the lobule type structure called as a anther. So both the anther and filament together we call it as a stamen. So stamen is a single part in the androecium. All the group of stamens form a androecium part. So the group of stamens are forming a androecium. And coming to this female, this is a female reproductive part of the flower, we call it as gynoecium. So we have other names for it. We also call it as a pistil, carpel. So what is meant by this? This actually contains the three parts: a surface type of structure, a stack type of structure, and the lobule type structure. The surface structure where pollen grain fall, a pollen tube germination starts. This is the stigma. A pollen tube will be growing on a long stack type of structure. We call it as the style. And at the base, this is a place where it is attached to the thalamus or the receptacle, where this part will be occupying the center position or the apical position on the thalamus. This is the ovary, and ovary is the part where it contains the ovules. So this is the main part for the fertilization process to occur. Now all the stigma, style and ovary together called as the pistil. So if the single is there, we call it as a pistil or the carpel. All the group, we call it as the androecium, which is the female reproductive structure. Now, these are the essential parts as the function of this androecium, as it is a male reproductive system. This anther produces the pollen grains. These pollen grains are said to be male gametes. These male gametes will be helpful in a fertilization, go and fuse with the female gamete, that is the egg cell. So for the production of male as well as a female gametes, these structures are useful as these structures are participate in the reproduction. We are considering them as the essential parts of the flower. So next we have non-essential parts. As the term indicating, they are not essential for the reproduction, but they have the separate functions. So as they are no role, they doesn't participate in a reproduction, we call them as a non-essential wholes of the flower. Example, calyx and corolla. In the floral formula, calyx we represent with the symbol K, corolla with the C, androecium with A, gynoecium with G. So we will discuss about the description later. Coming to this calyx, and you heard some of the terms called as sepals, petals. So let us see what are these. The calyx is considered as the outermost wall of the flower. If you observe the flower or the bud, a green color leaf type of structures which are present outer wall, that is called as a calyx. And the second wall where the flower is attaining the different colors because of this corolla, this is the second wall and this is the outermost wall. And this androecium is the third wall of the flower. Gynoecium is fourth wall or innermost wall. The outermost wall is the calyx and the innermost wall is the gynoecium. So, if the flower contains all these four walls, that flowers are said to be complete flowers. If any wall is missing, that is incomplete flower. Now, what is the function of this calyx? These are the outermost wall of a flower. They are very small in structure, green in color. They may be free or fused. And the individual members of this calyx, we call it as the sepals. The sepal is the term if you are just mentioning the individual part of a calyx, the individual part, we call it as the sepal. All the group of sepals are forming the calyx. Now coming to this corolla, these corolla are bright in color. They are brightly colored. The individual parts of this corolla, we call it as the petal. So petal is the individual part of corolla. So all the group of petals are forming corolla. All the group of sepals are forming the calyx. And what is the function of this calyx and corolla? The function of calyx is to give the protection whenever the flower is in the bud condition. To protect flower in bud condition. So that is a function of calyx. The corolla is, as they are brightly in color, it helps to attract the insects. Whenever the insects are attracted, it helps in the pollination, cross pollination. So for the pollination to attract the insects, these are of the different in color. And we have the smallest as well as the largest flower. The plant with the smallest flower is Ulphia or the duckweed. Let me write here. So the smallest flower plant is Ulphia. In general terms, we call it as the duckweed. And the plant with the largest flower is Rafflesia. So largest is Rafflesia, smallest is the Ulphia. So let us discuss from the outer wall to the inner wall. So as we discussed in earlier cases, the flower is containing the four walls, that is calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. And here remember the term gamo means united, poly means free. Just remember this term. We will be discussing about the calyx, corolla, sepals, petals and their condition. So gamo is a united one, poly is the free condition. So first we'll go with calyx. As we said, calyx is the outermost wall of a complete flower. The individual members are called as the sepals. These are green in color, a small leaf-like structure. They are protecting the flower whenever it is in a bud condition. And these may be in a free condition or fused condition. So what are the individual members of this calyx? We call it as a sepals. If all the sepals are free, okay, so what is the term free? Poly. So we write it as a polysepalous condition. Poly means free condition. Sepals are the individual parts of the calyx. So the free sepals are called as the polysepalous condition. The example is annona. In this annona, you can find the free calyx. So one sepal is like this, another, 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 another. So all are not attached and they are freely present. And there is another condition where you can find the united sepals. For the united, we are using the word that is gamo. Gamosepalous means, gamo means fused or united. Sepalous related to the sepals. The plant with the fused or united sepals, so the sepals will be united like this. This condition can be seen in the Datura plant. In the Datura flower, you can find it. Same words are there even for corolla also. As we discussed, the corolla is the second whole of a complete flower. The individual members of this corolla are called as the petals, which are brightly in color because different pigments are present in their vacuoles. That's why they are attaining the different colors. Due to its different colors and bright color, it helps in the insects' attraction for the pollination. And here also we have the two conditions, united as well as the free. So if they are free, we use the term poly. As they are petals, this condition is polypetalous. Poly means free, petalous related to the petals. So you can see the free petals in the case of hibiscus. If you observe the hibiscus, all the petals are free in condition. And if they are in fused or united condition, that is gamopetalous. Gamo means united or the fused. Petalous means related to the petals. The united or fused petals are called as the gamopetalous condition. This can be seen in the Datura flower. And we have one more point. If you just observe this petal or the individual part of this corolla. So these petals will be having the two ends. One end which is at the lower, that is narrow end, and it is a small stag-like structure. And if you just observe the other end, this is somewhat broader upper end, upper as well as a broader or expanded portion of the petal. Now this lower one, the narrow stag-like structure, is called as the claw. And the upper one, which is expanded, we call it as the limb. So these are the parts of the petal. So this is a single individual of the corolla. Now we can find the different shapes of the flowers based on the size or the shape of this petal. Suppose we have the four different types of flowers. One is the tubular type. So let us see. This is a uh, thalamus where all the floral parts are sitting. The stack of the flower, that is pedicel. The outermost green color is the calyx, and the second one is a corolla. So if this corolla is attaining this type of structure, so those flowers are said to be in a tubular in shape. And we have another case, bell-shaped flowers are there. So it look like this. So this is stack of the flower, and outermost wall is the calyx, and here the flower look like a bell shaped. So these are bell shaped flower, these are tubular shape, and funnel shaped flowers are there. So they look like a funnel. Kerosene funnel, how does it look? So here you can find this in the case of Datura. These flowers are look like a funnel shape. So the funnel is different, this tubular is different. And another type is a wheel type. So it look in this way. Yes. So all these are the different shapes of the flowers based on the arrangement, based on the size of this petals. Now, how this calyx and corolla are arranged? The arrangement of sepals and petals, whenever the flower is in a bud condition, we call that arrangement as the estivation. Estivation means how these parts are arranged, the arrangement of sepals and petals. So what are the sepals? The individual parts of the calyx, and the petals or the individual parts of the corolla. So we can find this arrangement clearly whenever the flower is in a bud condition. So that arrangement of sepals and petals in the flower bud or the floral bud, we call it as the estivation. And you should remember one thing: these are, we are comparing with the members of the same whole. So if the sepals are there, how the sepals are arranged with respect to sepals. If petals are there, how the petals are arranged with respect to petals itself. So there are the different types of estivation. First one is valvate estivation. Second is twisted or contorted or convoluted type of estivation. Third one is imbricate estivation. Fourth is the vexillary estivation. Vexillary is a special estivation, can be seen in a Papilionaceae family. That's why we also call it as a papilionaceous estivation, which is the old term. We are calling it as a vexillary type of estivation. And along with it, we have the another type, quincuntial estivation, which can be seen in the Brassicaceae family. So we'll discuss about the types of estivation, how these petals, sepals are arranged, where you can find it. We'll discuss briefly in the next video.